So we've got a new segment.
Yeah.
I asked the people of LinkedIn, of course, to send some questions in because you're coming onto the show. And so I'm going to read through a couple of them and would love to hear your answer. So the first is, what do you make of comments that say LinkedIn is turning into Facebook?
I think context is incredibly important, and we have always operated in a professional context. People are incredibly thoughtful about what they publish on LinkedIn because they know it reflects their professional identity, that their boss, that their colleagues, that their clients are going to see it. And it's something that we've always prided ourselves on over the last decade. It is a safe, trusted, and professional environment, and I very much hope that it stays that way for the next decade.
Brilliant. Another question says, why don't they invest in making chat in LinkedIn better?
I saw that question come through yesterday, and I can't remember the gentleman's name. Is it Fareed, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, Fareed. So Fareed, if you're listening, it's something that we have invested in very heavily over the last few years. But if you have suggestions of what we can do to improve it, please send me a note. I would love to see it, and I will commit to sharing that with our product team as well.
Brilliant. Next question, is being shadow banned a real thing?
Shadow banned?
Shadow banned when your content, the algorithm works against you actively based on something you posted in the past?
No.
Didn't think so.
It's not a real thing. We want to make sure that if you post content, that it gets the right engagement based on like how interesting, how relevant it is for people in your network. But no, that is not a thing. I've been reading a series of articles about it, but it's not accurate in any shape or form.
Okay, great. Good to know. The next question is LinkedIn planning on doing anything to combat spam and automation, particularly in messages and in inboxes?
It's not only something that we plan to do more about, but we have historically done a lot about it as well. And we have both automated as well as manual defenses to ensure that only relevant, trusted content surfaces in the feed or surfaces in somebody's inbox. And we're very transparent. There's a transparency report that we publish either once or twice a year that shows, I think it's like 98 to 99% of this content never actually sees the light of day. And so the content that we're talking about is a very, very small percentage of the billions of updates that flow through LinkedIn on a weekly and monthly basis. One thing I would encourage people to do, though, is if there is any content that they feel is inappropriate, either in their feed or in their inbox, please flag it. In the feed, you can just go to the three dots to the ellipsis on the feed. You can flag it as inappropriate. We'll immediately investigate, take action. Likewise in your inbox as well. That is one of the ways that our systems, our algorithms learn about what is appropriate, what isn't, who is posting and who isn't posting inappropriate content. So combination of manual defenses plus automated defenses, and also we rely on our audience to check that for us and submit anything to us that they don't feel comfortable with.
Okay, brilliant. And then a final question for this segment. How do you see LinkedIn changing now that more and more people are using the platform as a huge personal branding hub?
I'm going to throw that question back at you. How do you see LinkedIn changing and evolving?
I mean, I think that so much has already been done, some of the updates and platform tweaks that you mentioned earlier, but it really is the space to build your professional brand. Before LinkedIn, there was nothing. If you posted a career win on Facebook, people may like it, but they'd also roll their eyes and think, why are they sharing that?
Yeah.
Why are they bragging? And the same goes for Instagram and YouTube. There was never really a home for it. And now all of a sudden we have the rise of the business influencer. And then also the rise of, as you said, we have interns building their personal brands. We have people from every walk of life, every industry building their personal brand. My view is that it will absolutely continue. And by the looks of it, you guys at LinkedIn are doing all of the kind of the hard work behind the scenes in investing to make sure that creators have all the tools, they have the infrastructure, so that this space can continue to grow in a way that's still meaningful.
Yeah, I think that's entirely fair, and perhaps a slightly controversial place to say it. I'm not sure I like the phrase personal brand, because I think people misconstrue it. I think people interpret personal brand as how do I show off about myself in a public space? And that is very quickly seen as self-serving. And actually the value when it comes to personal brand, like if your starting point is not you, if your starting point is the audience, if your starting point is what is the knowledge that I have, what's the expertise that I have that I can share with others that is going to deliver value for someone else who follows me, for somebody else in my network, that should be the starting point. Like if that's the starting point, and then that reflects well on the individual, brilliant. And that certainly helps advance that person's personal brand.
Yeah.
But I think some people have this sort of balance or ratio the wrong way round. And their starting point is like, what do I want to be known for? How can I get more of the spotlight on me? And I think that should be the byproduct of creating value for others. And the people who create value for others, the spotlight comes back on them and they benefit from it. But I sort of sometimes think people like either misunderstand, misconstrue the concept of personal brand, and it becomes, I don't know, it sort of sticks in the back of my throat occasionally when I hear the phrase thrown around.
That's really interesting. It's a great take. I don't think it's controversial, don't worry. But for me, personal branding is all around scaling your authentic self offline, but doing so online.
Yeah.
Essentially. So you build up your reputation from doing good work and from being genuine and being kind and respectful to people in every meeting, in every event that you go to and so on. I think LinkedIn gives the opportunity to do that on a much wider kind of stage, really. Yeah. You can put content out into the world that reflects yourself and your values and the things that you really care about. And then more and more people can see that and almost gravitate towards you. And I think that's really, really special.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the idea of kind and respectful. I'd add helpful. Like, how do you help others in your network? That's ultimately what LinkedIn is about. Like, there's three primary reasons why people come to LinkedIn. They come to build their professional network, they come to find a job, and they come to stay informed or be better at the job that they're doing today. And when it comes to building your network, you don't always want to be the person asking. You can ask, certainly, and there's always like reasons and opportunities to ask people for help, and people should do that. But you should also think about what's the value I can add to the network, what's the value that I can add to the community around me.